Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. The pimps, the players, the hustlers, the people, the bust up, and everybody else in between. The Monday Night Meltdown has begun. We've got some late night action to break down that's coming up right now. There's a lot of stuff to unpack. There's a lot of stuff to look forward to, but not if you're a Buffalo Bill fan. There's not a lot to look forward to. But nevertheless, the Baltimore Ravens and the Kansas City Chiefs is an awesome matchup. And as much as people think that the National Football League wants Taylor Swift, Kelsey, Mahomes, and company in the Super Bowl, the Super Bowl logo is purple as hell, man. Like, seriously, it couldn't get any more purple. like this Super Bowl was made for the Baltimore Ravens. We people brought this up before. The last three Super Bowls, the teams that have made it have all been part of the logo, except this one. You look at the logo, and like you just ask somebody, it would almost be like you're asking someone to eye a witness, as a witness to, all right, go through this. What do you see when you see this? You'd be like, man, I see Baltimore and San Francisco when you look at a Super Bowl logo. And not only that, it seems like some of the networks already know as well. All right, we'll get to that a little bit later on. So a lot of stuff to unpack. We know what happened with the Buffalo Bills, this and that. It's unfortunate. Their kicker's getting death threats right now, a bunch of jackasses. And I'm not even going to single out Bills fans or anything like that for that, because we don't know if it's like Bills fans. It's just a bunch of losers online. But the same thing happened to Scott Norwood. And Scott Norwood's like living on a farm right now. You notice you don't hear a lot about Scott Norwood. It's the stupidest thing ever just to blame the kicker. Like, you want to, really? Like, even if they would have made that kick, the Kansas City Chiefs were getting the football back with 1:47 left on the clock. They scored with 13 seconds left before. What the hell do you think was going to happen last night after? Shout out to everyone joining us on SiriusXM, channel 159. This is SportsRage on the SportsGrid Radio networks. So it's funny how only one team wins, right? There's only one team left standing all the time. Yet somehow when the Buffalo Bills lose, it's like a bigger story. They're like bigger losers. Same thing with the Dallas Cowboys, right? Dallas Cowboys are somehow bigger losers than everybody. Everybody else had a great year somehow, but the Bills and Cowboys, they don't get that treatment. They get that, your chokers. And it's interesting, isn't it? Both the Bills and the Cowboys haven't been back to the Super Bowl since they played against each other, right? Or at least the Cowboys did get back and lost, right, to the no, they beat the Steelers, actually. I'm going to say, no, they did, like a couple of years after the Neil O'Donnell Super Bowl. Nevertheless, it's been a long time, right? We're going back. It's like the Montreal Canadiens winning the Stanley Cup. It's like, yeah, I guess, yeah. And then, the 90s. I still remember the era, but it's starting to get there now. I heard Jack Armstrong, Toronto Raptor analyst, former head coach in Niagara basketball. And, the Raptors blow, man. Like, yeah, thanks for nothing tonight, Toronto. So the Raptors get smashed by the Memphis freaking Grizzlies at home, no less. And Jack Armstrong wasn't having it. He wasn't feeling it tonight. Like, you could tell, like, he was just, like, normally Jack is, he's pretty fired up for every game and all that. He's got his shtick and all that. Yeah, tonight you could just tell. And I didn't realize, I knew he was a diehard Buffalo Bill fan. I know he goes to the games and stuff. I know he parties at these games. But I didn't realize he's gone to every game since, like, 1988. That's pretty hardcore, right? I've been a Bills fan, man, since the 70s. So last night is just sort of like, put it on, whatever. Put it on the list of like, yeah, whatever. Have fun with your little wide right. Whatever. Norwood was wide right. That wasn't wide right. That was like wide out into the parking lot last night. Not even close. All right, a lot of crazy stuff going on in the NBA tonight. It's no defense night tonight in the NBA. I guess it's fitting on the anniversary of Kobe. There's always a Kobe anniversary. But I guess it's fitting on the anniversary of Kobe. Kobe went off for 81 in 2006 against the Raptors. And tonight, Joel Embiid went off for 70. And Karl Anthony Towns is into the 60s right now. He was at 60 just moments ago. And he's still at 60 right now. You know what's crazy? He scored 60 points, yet they're up by like 1 point right now. So he scored 60. Andy Edwards only has 5. Yeah, wild night No Trae Young tonight for the Atlanta Hawks against the Sacramento Kings. Our money is mostly on the hockey here tonight. So they're singing the national anthem as we speak right now in Vancouver. And it's unfortunate because the Chicago Blackhawks are in town. And, of course, Connor Bedard, Chicago Blackhawk phenom, he's actually from Vancouver. So this game, people were looking forward to this game. He was looking forward to this game, right? His homecoming and all that. And I guess, listen, it just wasn't meant to be after he got a fractured jaw a couple of weeks ago. So it wasn't meant to be. Blackhawks and the Canucks tonight. The Canucks are smoking hot. They're 15-2-3 in their last 20 hockey games. The Canucks don't really do the letdown thing against bad teams either. They're coming off a big win against the Toronto Maple Leafs, but all you need to know is they're starting their starting goalie. That's why the Canucks are as relentless as they are. They do get up for every game. They've had a day off. Canucks rolling out their classic black tonight. They look badass. So we're all over the Canucks. We're laying a goal and a half with the Canucks tonight. It's like minus 160 right now. We're laying a goal and a half with the Canucks. We're laying a goal and a half with the LA Kings as well. The Kings get the Sharks. Kings own the Sharks. They've beaten them 6 straight times. 4 of the 6 times they've covered the puck and a half as well. So they both should roll tonight. Yeah, should is we're being hopeful. I say they should. But listen, I like Vancouver a lot in the first period here. They need to win the period. We're laying a half a goal with the Canucks in the first period at minus 115. We're getting a minus 420 favorite. The Canucks are the best team in the National Hockey League in the first period. Right? Nobody has scored as many goals as they have had in the first period. Their first, they usually beat you down early, this team. I also like over 1.5 for the first period. It wouldn't surprise me if the Canucks were up 2-0 after 1. And if you really want to get crazy, you can play the Canucks minus a goal and a half at plus 275 or so in the first period. But we've hammered the Canucks. We got the Canucks in moneyline parlays with Sacramento, the Sacramento Kings as well. Sacramento Kings and the Vancouver Canucks. What's a nice one? We played the Sacramento Kings to win the game with the Canucks to win the first period at plus 137. It might even be a little bit higher. I think it was plus 157. Whatever. It's plus money. All right, so it's Mrazek versus Demko tonight between the pipes. We'll get the Raging Redhead Cam Stewart's hockey picks in a couple of minutes as these games just drop the puck. Joe Madden will get her picks as well. And we've got George Kurtz in the house. All this football stuff going on. Patrick Waugh, say what? Not in a million years, man. Not in a million years. Did I see Patrick? That's why the insiders. Yeah, inside what? I didn't. No one was telling me Patrick Waugh was going to be the new coach of the New York Islanders. So Patrick Waugh's back in the National Hockey League. Captain Kurtz, Captain Chalk, George Kurtz will step up and in. We'll get his thoughts on this, and of course our boy Mo Khan steps up and in as he does every Monday night. This is Sports Rage. Bring it.
The Lions were going to blow out the Rams, and in the first half I was like, all right, I got one right here on this one. And then the Lions, what happened, Jacob? They stopped playing.
The Lions offense is more of a complete unit right now because they have a really strong run game, and I know Tampa's run defense is good too, but all they need is David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs to do a little, and that'll open things up for Jared Goff.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Last year, the Purdue Boilermakers upset by the 16 seed Fairleigh Dickinson. Is history going to repeat itself?
Purdue is capable of winning 6 games in the NCAA tournament, but the fact is, until Purdue proves that it's capable of not just advancing, but advancing far in the bracket in March, this is going to be the storyline. And I've said that to you throughout the offseason.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
I can see why people would bet Boston at minus about 45, but I think the two of them are so exciting and so talented and so awesome. I went with and made the bet of the over 6.5.
There are issues with football characters. Always doing the right thing, being in the right spot. being highly coachable. Why do they continue to fail in the big moments? It's football character, Pharrell. It's not a talent issue. That has nothing to do with it.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
They were best friends. Like Siakam's best friend on the team was Chris Boucher. Chris Boucher's best friend on the team was Pascal Siakam. They're not American, right? So there's different cliques in the NBA. And they were very, very tight. So Chris Boucher, I got rattled seeing Chris Boucher and thinking about the memories, but Raptors responded.
SportsRage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
One that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. Let's do this thing. Karl Anthony Towns has cracked the 60 mark tonight. Yet they're battling. Who would have imagined the Charlotte Hornets? And not only are they battling, the Charlotte Hornets have come back and taken a lead. It's 126 to 121 right now for the Hornets, despite the fact that Cats got 62. Embiid went off for 70 tonight, which kind of overshadows the fact that Victor Wembanyama went off for 33 in 28 minutes. All right? Like, Victor Wembanyama, man, this guy, he's literally like a point a minute, type of dude. Like, when this guy starts to play real minutes in the future, he's going to be scoring 35, 40 a night. It's crazy the amount of production that he puts in the limited minutes that he gets. Tonight, he actually played 28 minutes. But we've got hockey that just started. We told you guys we jumped in on the Vancouver Canucks in the first period, minus 115 to win the first period, minus half a puck, and to put a puck in the net already right now. It's 1-0 for Vancouver, 16 and a half left in the first period of play. Let's bring in Joe Madden and Cam Stewart. I'll throw it to you first, Joe. What are you doing with these late hockey games right now? As the Canucks have already scored a 1-0. We got the Kings and Sharks as well.
So I was definitely spying on you there, Gabe, because I got the same play as you, the Vancouver Canucks in the first period on that puck line. I also took the over 1.5 and Elias Pettersson in there to be able to get that anytime goal. I just think Vancouver is playing such phenomenal hockey right now. There's no way that the Chicago Blackhawks, I think, stand a chance in this one. So I think if you want to live bet this one, if you're not already in on this game, you got to lay 2.5 on that puck line. The juice is way too high at minus 178, but that's the only way I could go with this game right now because I do think the Vancouver Canucks are the right side of it. Looking at the next game on deck, the LA Kings, I think this is another opportunity to jump in on the favorite in the first period on that puck line. I just don't trust the San Jose Sharks with Mackenzie Blackwood in goal. So the puck line laying the half is minus 118 for the LA Kings, and I think they get it done tonight. So I'm a little worried about them kind of overlooking the Sharks here, but this is a team that always dominates versus the Sharks. First night of a back-to-back for the San Jose Sharks as well. Their team total is interesting. I like it to that under 1.5. That's coming in at plus 150. So I really do think they should be able to completely limit them. They only scored 1 goal in the last 2 meetings versus the Kings as well. So nice trend there with that one.
Yeah, the Kings have beaten the Sharks six straight times. 4 of the 6 by more than 1.5, and have beaten them by more than 1.5 the both times that they played this year. Cam, what are you doing with the Kings and the Sharks game?
Very similar to Joe. And if you're first of all in this other game with Chicago, this is the worst case scenario. If you like the Blackhawks, they're plus 2.5, but they need to play a trap to play with Vancouver. Vancouver has too many skilled players, so them being down could open up the floodgates in a bad way for them. I'm with Joe. I like LA in the first period of the game. It's minus 1.5, minus 150, Gabe. It's a lot, but I expect the Kings to absolutely murder the Sharks tonight. The Kings won their last game. They've been playing bad hockey, but this is an opportunity for them to get back on track. And San Jose is the perfect type of opponent. I'm expecting LA to go on a little bit of heater after a cold streak. So I think the Kings will probably win this game like 5-1, somewhere around there, very close to the total. I want to take the over in the game, but I don't know, to Joe's point, what San Jose is going to do. I would not be shocked if the Kings scored like 5 goals in this game.
The one thing with the LA Kings, as Joe stated, they do dominate against the San Jose Sharks historically, right? It's not just the 6 in a row. They've historically just absolutely owned them, but they're not playing good hockey. Like coming into tonight, I was more, two similar sort of situations, two massive favorites. I trusted Vancouver more than I trust the LA Kings, but the fact that it's the San Jose Sharks, I think it's the perfect matchup, perfect team for them to get. And as you stated, Joe, you don't think they'll take them lightly. They can't afford to take anybody lightly, the Kings. Like, they need to win hockey games right now. So they're not going to be taking anybody lightly. I am on the Nashville Predators right now. They're losing 2-1 to the Florida Panthers. In-game total right now is 4.5, but is heavily juiced. The Panthers are 5-1 favorites. The Preds are plus 350. Any thoughts on this game, Cam? Panthers and Predators.
This game's a very difficult game, but if I were to take it, I'd probably take Nashville live. They're plus 1.5, minus 130, Gabe, or plus 350 on the money line. This game is definitely not over with 12 minutes left. You can't lay 425 with Florida, and I don't trust them on the puck line. So that's what I would do. In the other game, too, that's going on live, I like Pittsburgh minus 140 live against the Arizona Coyotes. Gabe, I know sometimes trends, you go, listen to them, whatever. For some reason, Pittsburgh's beaten Arizona their last 11 times on the road for some reason, and I think they got to get some points and win some games. Arizona's going to come back down to earth. So I like Pittsburgh live, minus 140. This game is tied at 1.
Yeah, this one's tied at 1, Joe. I didn't bet this game, the Penguins and the Coyotes. Any thoughts on this one in-game here?
Yeah, I was looking at this one for Arizona to struggle to beat the Penguins in this game. Just looking at those trends and how they've continuously struggled against them. But Connor Ingram has been so hot in net. I did take his save shots on goal over that 28.5 because he's been absolutely phenomenal out there and no one's really talking about him. I do think the total of 5.5 stays to that under. But right now, you're not getting value on it. It's minus 154 to the under 5.5. If you see another goal in this and you get a better odds, I'd definitely hit that under 5.5. And the Florida Panthers, it's a dad's trip here for them. It's a one-off road game here. I definitely think they want to go out and party and celebrate a win tonight with their dads. I'm fading the Florida Panthers in the first period on Wednesday versus the Arizona Coyotes as they come back home. But I think in this one, they might be able to pull off the win here, you guys, for their dads.
Quinn Hughes just scored it. I was going to say, the Vancouver Canucks are so effing dominant. It was like they were on the power play, but they weren't. Like the Blackhawks literally were like helpless. like they were just, it was just like shot. And I was looking up and I'm like, they're about to score. Like they're going to score any second here right now. And then boom, Quinn Hughes with a beautiful shot.
That's beautiful.
That Mrazek just like, what are you going to do?
I
like
feel
they're
bad for
swarming.
Mrazek, see how angry he is? Mrazek's just like smash on the crossbar. He's like, you guys are selling me down the river. It's only part way into the game. I'm telling you, like if Vancouver keeps like putting gasoline on this fire, Mrazek might get pulled, and it's not even his fault. This is complete domination early in the game. Vancouver's all.
I know how Mrazek feels. I've been there.
Yeah.
Once I was a soccer goalie, and we beat a bunch of crap ass teams, and like actually won like the high school. The high school championship and stuff. And I thought, man, this is pretty easy. I should have been a soccer player. I'm really good. This is easy. And we're winning and stuff. We were playing a bunch of losers. So like we finally played a bunch of Italian kids in St. Leonard, Montreal, Quebec. Like it's hardcore Italian and very good athletes from there. Like Roberto Luongo's from there. Like a lot of hockey players and like football. It's a good athlete place. And I was the goalie and I don't even remember the score. It was bad though. Like for a soccer game, like it was either 11-0 or 13-0. Like, it wasn't 6-0 or 5. Like, it was either 11-0 or 13-0. And I was the goalie. I was just helpless. It was like basically we were playing the Italian national team or something. I was just standing there. It was like they were just poof, poof. And I remember it was pouring rain and the ball was all wet. I got hit in the head with it, like it was hitting me. And it was like, man, this sucks. I was like, you know what? I think I'll just stick to hockey from now on after this.
What's the worst loss ever?
I know what Mrazek's going through.
We were in a hockey team, and we
never
played
had a bad one in hockey.
I did. We played Detroit CompuWare. They beat us 27-1.
Really?
It was actually sad.
That's humiliating.
And we were staying at their house. Yeah, we went to Showbiz Pizza Place afterwards.
Oh, you had to go sleep at their house.
You're
like, all right, sorry, Cammy.
All those guys went to the NHL and stuff. Detroit CompuWare is one of the best teams. Like, we got murdered. It was so embarrassing. Like, they were up like 10-0, like literally after the first. I'm like, oh God. It was bad. They had no mercy on us either. They're like, kill these Canadians. I'm like, oh God.
I'm thinking once we lost the game like 7-4 in New York, and it really bothered me. But we beat them, but we had a big brawl. Like, we beat them the next day and stuff, but they never really got routed too many times. That's why I use the soccer as an analogy. But I never played Detroit CompuWare either.
No,
I'm not going to lie. We lost to a ringette team once, Cam. We played ringette. We lost to them.
I really thought the Lions were going to blow out the Rams. And in the first half, I was like, all right, I got one right here on this one. And then the Lions, what happened, Jacob? They stopped playing.
The Lions offense is more of a complete unit right now because they have a really strong run game. And I know Tampa's run defense is good too, but all they need is David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs to do a little, and that'll open things up for Jared Goff.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Last year, the Purdue Boilermakers upset by the 16 seed Fairleigh Dickinson. Is history going to repeat itself?
Purdue is capable of winning 6 games in the NCAA tournament, but the fact is, until Purdue proves that it's capable of not just advancing, but advancing far in the bracket in March, this is going to be the storyline. And I've said that to you throughout the offseason.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
I can see why people would bet Boston at minus about 45. But I think the two of them are so exciting and so talented and so awesome. I went with and made the bet of the over 6.5.
There are issues with football character. Always doing the right thing, being in the right spot, being highly coachable. Why do they continue to fail in the big moments? It's football character, Pharrell. It's not a talent issue. That has nothing to do with it.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
They were best friends. Like Siakam's best friend on the team was Chris Boucher. Chris Boucher's best friend on the team was Pascal Siakam. They're not American, right? So there's different cliques in the NBA, and they were very, very tight. So Chris Boucher, I got rattled seeing Chris Boucher and thinking about the memories. But Raptors responded.
SportsRage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
One that's been to a sporting event. The atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. The Chicago Blackhawks are on a power play right now. The Canucks are up 2-1, and the Blackhawks are buzzing around. I brought this up earlier. It's very unfortunate. Connor Bedard, of course, is from Vancouver. They only come once a year, so this was his homecoming. Ooh, Canucks just hit the Blackhawks just hit the Canucks crossbar on the power play there. Demko was beat. They hit the crossbar. So, yeah, they're buzzing around on this. So, yeah, it's too bad. People bought tickets and all this. You're looking forward to Connor Bedard's homecoming. He was looking forward to it, his family and all that. Wasn't meant to be. Is what it is. Canucks get an easier matchup. They're up 2-0 right now with 9 minutes left in the first period. We got the Sharks and the Kings coming up. The Coyotes, ladies and gentlemen. Joe, the Coyotes have just scored to take a 2-1 lead on the Pens, Cam.
Yeah, I can't believe the Coyotes actually scored. Was it Clayton Keller? Because I do have him for that anytime goal tonight. I'm really hoping he finds the back of the net.
I'll let you know. I don't know.
I love your style, Joe. Yeah, that's the best.
Right? If someone's going to score, I hope it's him. But I do think this one, I don't know, that 6.5 is looking pretty good at plus 110 to the over. The Pittsburgh Penguins, we know they can find the back of the net. Connor Ingram, though, has been strong. So that's my only concern in this one, is how strong he's going to be in this game.
Zucker and Valimaki.
Okay.
Those are the goal scorers. Those are the goal scorers for Arizona. I was actually leaning Arizona in this game, to be honest. They're playing good hockey.
They are.
You know what I mean? They are. Like they've been scrapping. They battle. They get points in their games. They come into tonight with a 22-19 and 3 record. So, you know, Arizona have been a pretty impressive team. I did stay away from this game. So, you know, crazy stuff tonight in the association. Number one, let me just say, the Raptors suck. Like, dear God, that was pathetic tonight, man. Listen, Memphis are weird. Like, one thing we'll give Memphis credit for is Memphis have won a couple of games. It's weird. Since Bane and Morant are out, you know, they beat the Golden State Warriors. Now they beat the Raptors. They keep winning as an underdog. But if you're the Raptors, you know, as Raptor fans, we all understand you're going through, you know, there's a transitional phase going on here. But this is something the Montreal Canadiens were good at, actually, sort of understanding it. And I liked what Martin St. Louis said and Cole Caulfield said. He said, listen, this city is used to winning teams, and we understand that we're not up to the standard that the city of Montreal is used to with this team. So when we play at home, we go all out. like Cole Caulfield admitted it. He goes, when we play at home, we don't want to lose. Like he goes, they pay, they come to see us. We can't let them down. And I thought about it out with the Raptors tonight. It's like, all right, guys, like, what is this, a big joke to you? Like, it's crap-ass weather in Toronto, I'm assuming, tonight. People are paying $300, $400, $500, $600 for the tickets to the game. And you guys effing mail it in tonight, man. Against a Memphis team that doesn't have anybody. It's a G League team. And you lose by 20 or whatever the hell it was in the end. I couldn't even watch the end of it. I was like, I can't watch this. Like, it's an unwatchable product. Like, dude, if you're going to suck, there's a saying, you suck on the road, man. Like, at least show up, man, when you're playing at home. That was pathetic tonight, man.
Yep. You said
that was embarrassing.
Snowstorm here. What that line steamed up to the Raptors, I think it opened 5.5. Would it close at like 7.5 or 7? It was just, and they got murdered by like 20 points. It was a pathetic performance. I agree with everything you're saying. Like, you pay a lot for Raptor tickets too. They're not cheap. Like, that's the whole thing. It's very disappointing. I know they got it's a transitional.
Dude, they were
phase,
down 8-2 after like 2 minutes. It was
I
like
know.
8-2, 14. Everyone's like, wow, that's that. Like,
yeah,
it's always like that. They're never ready to play.
They're not.
You know, and it's crazy because they make a bunch of nice plays, Joe, in the game. Like, if you watch the Raptors, it's like, oh, what a block by Scotty Barnes. What a shot. Nice. Oh, a nice play by Quickly. But it doesn't add up. It's not enough. It's like, hey, you guys do a couple of nice plays, but you realize you just got burnt on D. They just hit a 3. We can't hit a 3 to save our lives. It's very, like, disheartening. And as a Buffalo Bill fan, I was hoping, like, for a little, like, some of a distraction tonight. I watched the Raptors. I'm like, this is just making it worse. Jack Armstrong sounded like he wanted to cry tonight. He's talking about the Bills game. He was there. He's talking about the Raptor game tonight. It was a double combination. So then I said, all right, screw this. The Canucks won't let me down tonight. But Joel Embiid goes off tonight for 70. Victor Wembanyama dropped 33 tonight in 28 minutes. Karl Anthony Towns gets 62. But they end up losing. The Hornets actually ended up winning the game tonight, which that's just insanity. Like I said, the NBA, man, these guys were like 12.5-point underdogs. They ended up winning the game 128 to 125. Nothing surprises me in this league anymore. The Bulls were dogs tonight. Dogs are barking tonight, guys. The Bulls were dogs to the Phoenix Suns. And I'll tell you what, Cam, they're another one. The Phoenix Suns are another just gutless.
Sure,
like
they are.
They won last night, so I guess they figure, well, we won last night, so, you know, what does it matter tonight? It's like, dude, like, you're effing professionals, man. And especially you guys. You're getting paid. Like you, Durant, Beal, and Booker, you guys make like $200 million a year combined. Can you win 2 games in a row, or is it asking too much? It's unbelievable.
No, it really is. Like, I don't know
They
what it is
suck.
about the
They're
NBA.
never winning. They can't even, like, they're not winning this team.
They got too many egos on that team, one ball. I'll say another thing that we learned last year, Gabe, to your point. I'll take a team that has a bunch of guys who get bounced up from the G League or whatever, because I know one thing, they're playing for a 10-day contract, they're playing for a future contract, and we saw this happen before. All these teams with no-namers, I'd rather have them, and then the line goes in their favor, and they win outright. I don't know, man. That's just, I've been watching this Phoenix team's an absolute train wreck. You couldn't be more right. But we saw this a long time ago, Gabe. Remember when all those teams were getting guys and calling up, and we're like, who the hell are these guys? And they're winning by 16 outright against some of the best teams in the league. The NBA is crazy.
Yeah, and especially now, guys, at this time of the year. And you know, Joe, I'll ask you about this, actually, because, too, it's the same thing with the NHL. But the NHL is a little different type of league than the NBA. But, you know, with the All-Star break coming up and stuff, you're going to see this. You're going to see guys going off. People are tired in the NBA, so, like, teams are getting blown out. You have underachieving teams that realize we're not very good. And players aren't dumb. Like, especially in the NBA, they realize, they know this is not going to work. And they're stuck there. If you're Durant, you're thinking, how many times can I leave somewhere? Like, he can't tell them, like, Phoenix now. What are you going to tell Phoenix? I want out? It's like,
yeah.
like every year? Like, you know what I mean? Like at some point, I think, like, these Phoenix guys are realizing this is pretty bad. Like, you know, I mean, this is, you know, like, this league is just whack. But the NHL, we have the All-Star break coming up, and that's why I brought up the Kings, Joe. I think there's certain teams, like, if you're, and the Kings said it. They basically said, we need to end strong before the All-Star break. You know what I mean? Like, you have a delay. Like, you're going to be off for a couple of days, a week, or whatever the hell it is exactly. You can't be going in, like, in a bad frame of mind. The Leafs are in the same, like, way, Cam. They got to rattle off a couple of wins before the All-Star break, this team.
I could tell you, Gabe,
but say the Kings, same Seattle, thing. That's why I like the Kings tonight.
Well, I was telling Joe on the break, too, like we were talking about it. You know, Vancouver's a real team. When the Leafs are down 3 goals, they come back tied up, and Vancouver finds a way to win by 2 goals in that hockey game. That's what good teams do. They don't get rattled and dig deep. And I can tell you this, just from the stuff, Keefe's like hanging on by a thread right now. Obviously, it's not all his fault. It's the player's fault, but the coach is going to go.
Who are they going to hire?
Yeah, that's another thing. The Shanna plan's not working, though, with these guys, and we talk about all their money being tied up. And if they didn't beat the Kraken,
who was the coach before Keefe?
Not
Babcock, right?
No, but after
there was someone else. There was someone else, right?
What am I doing?
Do you remember, Joe? Who was it?
No, I don't. I'm not good at trivia
Babcock.
like that.
Who the hell was it? I can't believe I'm forgetting, too. He wasn't that bad, actually, but everybody blamed him. Like, who the hell? Who was the coach?
I can't believe what's happening, right? I know.
You're a Leaf fan.
I'm losing my mind. I really, usually I'm good with team. Who else was it? No, it's coaches, Leafs previous coaches.
My point is, at some point, like, you know, is Keefe the right guy? No. No, it was Babcock. So it was Babcock.
Yeah,
it was no one else. It was Babcock.
I'm like, I can't believe I don't know a Leafs coach. Like, I think I need help. Yeah.
All right, but I just remember, like, going back, like, every coach. I'm looking at the history of the Leafs coaches here, Joe. So Sheldon Keefe, Maple Leaf fan, hates him, thinks he's a big wuss, wants him fired. Mike Babcock was too mean, all right? Keefe's too soft. Babcock was too mean to the players. The players couldn't handle him. He was verbally abusing them. Randy Carlyle was there. They didn't like Randy Carlyle. I remember Ron Wilson. They blame Ron Wilson for everything all the time. The last time Leaf fan liked a coach was Pat Quinn. Yeah. And that was like 1998 to 2006. That's the last time. Like, it's true.
It's true. Almost 3 decades. Yeah.
No, it's true. I remember Paul Maurice got criticized and ran out of town after 2 years. Ron Wilson got criticized, ran out of town. Carlisle got criticized, ran out of town. And then everyone's like, all right, we got Babcock. So like the Belichick. This guy's won a bunch of times. He's a hard ass. This is going to be a perfect fit. Well, he got ran out of the league for being a psychopath. And now you got Sheldon Keefe. So I don't know, Cam. Is it the coach? Like, how many coaches are you going to, you know what I mean?
It's obviously not the coach, because look what Maurice has done when he went with the Carolina Hurricanes and the Florida Panthers, taking this team to the Stanley Cup as big underdogs. So all you have to do is the evidence says itself. Paul Maurice, look what Florida they did with almost and less talent. That's the whole thing. Like, these guys find a way to get it done. Obviously, he's a very good coach. Even in Winnipeg, he didn't have the guys there. A lot of guys were leaving. He did a good job with the Jets. So you know what? Paul Maurice is a very good hockey coach. It's not Keefe's fault. These guys, you talk about the Phoenix Suns. The Leafs are the Phoenix Suns of the National Hockey League. Everyone just anoints them like, oh, this team's great. Yeah, well, you got to go out and play the damn game.
It's up to the Leaf players. Mm-hmm. Like, it sounds cliche, but honestly, like Austin Matthews, Marner, Nylander, these guys, like, to come to playoff times, they have to, like, talk to each other and basically say, we're not losing, right? Like, whatever it takes. If I have to lose my teeth, if I'm putting my face in front of a puck, we're not losing. They don't have that, right? They're like, well, hey, we'll get them next year. Very Buffalo Billish.
Thought the Lions were going to blow out the Rams, and in the first half I was like, all right, I got one right here on this one. And then the Lions, what happened, Jacob? They stopped playing.
The Lions offense is more of a complete unit right now because they have a really strong run game, and I know Tampa's run defense is good too, but all they need is David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs to do a little, and that'll open things up for Jared Goff.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Last year, the Purdue Boilermakers upset by the 16 seed Fairleigh Dickinson. Is history going to repeat itself?
Purdue is capable of winning 6 games in the NCAA tournament, but the fact is, until Purdue proves that it's capable of not just advancing, but advancing far in the bracket in March, this is going to be the storyline. And I've said that to you throughout the offseason.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
I can see why people would bet Boston at minus about 45, but I think the two of them are so exciting and so talented and so awesome. I went with and made the bet of the over 6.5.
There are issues with football characters. Always doing the right thing, being in the right spot, being highly coachable. Why do they continue to fail in the big moments? It's football character, Pharrell. It's not a talent issue. That has nothing to do with it.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
They were best friends. Like Siakam's best friend on the team was Chris Boucher. Chris Boucher's best friend on the team was Pascal Siakam. They're not American, right? So there's different cliques in the NBA, and they were very, very tight. So Chris Boucher, I got rattled seeing Chris Boucher and thinking about the memories. But Raptors responded.
SportsRage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
One that's been to a sporting event. The atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. So the first period has come to a close in Vancouver, and the Vancouver Canucks win the first period 2-0. So that's good. We stepped up and in and took the Canucks in the first period. We laid the goal and a half with the Canucks in the game. We got the Sharks and the Kings dropping the puck right now, and the Pittsburgh Penguins have tied the game with the Arizona Coyotes. It's 2-2. 2-2 right now with 2:42 left. Okay, NBA basketball, the Celtics are up on the Mavs. I like the Celtics tonight. They're up 111-100. The Phoenix Suns are gutless. They're losing 88-72 right now to the Bulls. And the ice trayless Atlanta Hawks are taking on the Sacktown Kings. Sacramento up 31-24 right now. The Kansas Jayhawks, Rock Chalk Jayhawk, up by 6 on Cincinnati, 51-45 with 10.5 left in that basketball game. I am on Montana, actually, against Weber State. Montana's winning, too. They're winning 64-53, so that's good news with under 5 minutes remaining. Montana State are up 66-49 on Idaho State. And Hofstra's up on Stony Brook, 62-59 right now with 5 minutes remaining. And we'll get you caught up to date with everything. Florida A&M is beating Mississippi Valley Delta State, 73-65. Jackson State's beating Texas Southern, 54-41. Idaho State women right now beating Montana State women, 53-43. But this game's coming to an end right now, so no time to waste on this because we're not going to bet on it. So I guess I can't avoid the NFL all night. It's time to get to the National Football League. We've got 2 games coming up on Sunday, updated point spreads right now. Baltimore Ravens -3.5, total 44.5. And the Detroit Lions are getting 7 points against San Francisco. Over under 51 in this game. Joe, how did the NFL treat you over the weekend? How did you do from a betting perspective?
Yeah, it was a pretty good weekend betting. I went 4-1 on like my main picks. I did take a live bet of the Green Bay Packers live at +210. I think we were getting them at that point, but we know how that one finished. I just hated what I was seeing out of the 49ers out there on the field. They just weren't able to pull things together, but they ultimately came back and were able to get the win. But I really thought the Packers in that game were going to get it done. I still can't believe Jordan Love threw across his body at the end of that game and got picked off there. So I thought they were going to drive down and get it done.
That game was cost by the kicker more than the Bills game was.
It was.
Buddy on the Packers needs to make that kick. He's been missing kicks all year. Same with Bass, though. What was his kick? I think it was a 43-yarder he missed, right?
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, I think it was a 43-yarder.
Good point that you bring up about Carlson, because he's been very erratic for Green Bay all year, and you couldn't have played San Francisco better, Gabe. I told you, I had the points in that game. I'm like, Green Bay could, like, they were the better team for the most part in that game. Like, they were doing everything right, man. I can't believe that's what you do against San Francisco. You got to put your foot on their throat. They're the San Francisco 49ers, but that Green Bay team, man, Gabe, the way Love, a mistake at the end, but man, Jones was on fire. Look at their team. They just grew up like right in front of our eyes, and San Francisco fans, trust me, they were crapping their pants. Green Bay was great in that game, man. I can't believe they didn't win.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, I know a lot of people think that because San Francisco didn't look great against Green Bay and needed the late comeback, Joe, that it sets up nicely for the Lions. Every game is different from each different week. And if anything, let's be real. We bet on Houston in the first half of the game, first quarter, first half. We talked about Baltimore probably being a little slow. They hadn't played a real game in 3 weeks, and they were. And same with San Francisco, right? But, once they get going a little bit, I would expect San Francisco to be better this week. What are your early leans, Joe, with the game, starting off with San Francisco and Detroit? It's 7-51 right now.
You make a really good point about the 49ers. I think the performance we saw this weekend is the worst performance we'll see out of them for the rest of the playoffs here. I do think they get the win over the Detroit Lions. I'm just trying to look at a way to play the Lions. Maybe in the first half, I'm going to grab them plus the points because I do think they stay competitive for a while in this one. I ultimately think, though, the 49ers are such a solid team, and this line would be a lot higher if we would have seen a better performance out of them versus the Green Bay Packers. So I think the line is a little light for the full game, but I do think the Lions will keep it tight in the first half.
No love for the Kansas City Chiefs, really, as far as the betting market is concerned. The Ravens opened up as 3.5-point favorites. They're 3.5-point favorites right now, Cam. I think a lot of people, we're to the point now. It's interesting because I remember when the Chiefs were the upstart team trying to beat the Patriots and everybody was cheering for them and they were sick of Brady. And the same thing with the Golden State Warriors where Curry and those guys weren't annoying, but as soon as you win all the time, you become annoying. People are sick of Kansas City. And, like, people don't want to see Kansas City in another Super Bowl. Like, dude, this is 6. It's just like Brady. Like, basically, like, it was almost a relief when Brady was gone because it got boring. Right? Every Super Bowl was the same storyline and Brady and like 10 Super Bowls. And now it's the same thing with Mahomes. Like the dude's played now, this is his 6th consecutive AFC Conference Championship game. People are looking for some fresh blood. So people want to see Kansas City lose. So I think they're going to be betting with their hearts and betting with Baltimore. And that's why it's 3.5 and the market hasn't moved with KC total 44.5. But listen, it's easy to say KC aren't great and they're not this and that. They keep on finding ways of winning. And there's no excuses for the Buffalo Bills because whatever. The Bills have been finding ways to lose for a long time. And it happened. It's been going on before yesterday. But the Bills also were literally without like 7 starters at one point on defense on the field yesterday. The Ravens are healthy. The Ravens defense is a lot better than the Bills defense is right now. So it's going to be a lot tougher. Like the Ravens are a tougher challenge. They're going to be good on offense, and their defense is going to be a hell of a lot tougher than the Buffalo Bills shattered 5th stringers that they were rolling out at some point in that game. Like I said, no excuses. Bills had opportunities to win, but I'm just being realistic. I do believe that this is the end of the road for the Kansas City Chiefs this week. Baltimore's going to beat them.
Couldn't agree more, Gabe. Question is how much I think Baltimore is going to win by. I would still lay it at 3.5. We saw what they did to Houston in the second half of that game, and Houston played a great first half. Good call by you guys with the dog early. But here's the deal. Andrews is coming back, too. Isaiah Likely's an absolute stud. You can use him as a decoy. And Gabe, C.J. Stroud was fantastic in that game. People are going to go whatever. The Ravens, every single play, they were breaking through with 2 guys, forcing him to move and not find his first read. The Ravens, they could kill Patrick Mahomes in this game. You talk about the difference. The defensive line is absolutely going to eat Kansas City up. I think their offense with Lamar, he's a man on a mission, and you saw what they can do in the passing game with all their weapons. I like Baltimore by a touchdown in this game, and Joe, to your point, I agree. I usually take dogs, but I like both favorites so far. I think San Francisco, the best thing that happened to them is having a tight win, Gabe, and now they'll be prepared and ready for a very good Detroit Lions team. I expect the Niners to win that game by a couple touchdowns.
We'll keep our eye on the Samuel situation throughout the week and how his shoulder is doing. But San Francisco are going to be a dangerous team at home. The Detroit Lions haven't beaten San Francisco in San Francisco since 1975. So they're going to be up. They have a tough task going in there, but a hell of a run for the Detroit Lions. Got to tip your cap to them for getting it done once again yesterday. And listen, the Buffalo Bills story is a painful one, and the Detroit Lions haven't had a lot of success either. So the Lion fans get the joy. They're in a tough spot going to San Francisco right now, and it just feels like to me that and in fact, guys, I sent. Can you get that up? Get the and of all places, this was actually in Tofino, British Columbia. So a CTV affiliate. If guys, if you can get this up here, so people have caught on to this. So look at this. Reba McEntire, Usher, and Post Malone are slated to perform at San Francisco 49ers and Baltimore Ravens Super Bowl matchup on February the 11th.
My brother used to live in Tofino. Wow. That's amazing. Wow, foreshadowing. Yeah, they know the future. That's wild.
So it's set in stone. And for the record, CTV, they have the rights to the Super Bowl, Joe. So they've already got the script in hand. They already know. I don't have the Super Bowl logo. I don't have the Super Bowl logo, but you guys can get the logo. Like I said, it's purple and red. It's San Francisco and Baltimore. There it is right there. Thank you. Look at the Super Bowl logo this year. Tell me that's not going to be the Baltimore Ravens. It's like they knew. Baltimore and San Francisco. Yeah. That's the colors. And Baltimore wins, judging by the color.
Interesting.
What I don't get, too, is why is it purple? It has nothing to do with Vegas.
No.
Could the red be Chiefs, too?
You think black and gold, right?
Yeah, but purple, you're right. It's Ravens and Niners. It can't be both. So, yeah, no, you're right.
It's going to be the Ravens versus the Niners, and it's going to be the Harbaugh, the Harbaugh Bowl rematch.
Yeah.
It's going to be the blackout. The last time these two teams played, there could be a couple of rematches, like assuming Detroit doesn't win. But either way, San Francisco played KC in the Super Bowl not that long ago. We're up by 10 with like 8 minutes left. Yep. And then, of course, the Baltimore Ravens and the San Francisco 49ers played a classic Super Bowl in New Orleans, and they lost the power. And the San Francisco 49ers stormed back but couldn't score on 1st and goal. And Baltimore ended up winning the Super Bowl. But it feels like to me, Joe, all kidding aside, beside the networks already knowing in the Super Bowl color logo, but I do believe, and I always thought too, as a Buffalo Bill fan, I was pulling for them, but I said it. It's going to be the year of Harbaugh. Harbaugh is going to win the national championship in college, and any other Harbaugh is going to win the damn Super Bowl this year. And they are going to be the number one Mendelbaum football family in the history of the world. No one can beat them after this. And, of course, you being the Charger fan, I'm sure you're excited to see Harbaugh is interviewed with the Chargers for a second time. Yet,
not buying it.
Yet,
not buying
we should also let you know that he's also interviewed with the Falcons for the second time.
I'm not buying that the Spanos family will pay him. I'm just like completely flabbergasted that he's meeting with them for a second time, because someone actually posted a meme like the Dumb and Dumber, I owe you. Like that's what the Chargers family, the Spanos family is going to give them. Like, I owe you if you come out and like get the wins, we'll owe you money, because I can't see them digging into their pockets. So, but I'm with you. I think it is the Ravens who end up getting the win here in the Super Bowl. I think their team is just so complete. I love their defense. And one thing I was looking at with them versus KC, I'm going to take KC's points to the under. It's 20.5 minus 122 to the under. I don't see them scoring a lot on the Baltimore Ravens.
I like that.
I'm looking, trying to, if an exact Super Bowl matchup. So basically a money line parlay of San Francisco and Baltimore is like plus 111. So then I'm like, okay, but to get a little bit deeper, I was thinking I'm not a big hedger, but at the same point in time, I'd like to make money on the way out here. So I'm looking and I see I've got a number here. Baltimore to beat San Francisco in the Super Bowl is plus 350. So I think they're both going to make it, and I'm leaning Baltimore to beat San Francisco in the Super Bowl. But if I bet that, and I bet enough, let's say I put a dime on it, it gives me wiggle room to come back with San Francisco in the Super Bowl now. Yes. I could just buy San Francisco in the Super Bowl and say, oh, whatever, I win $4,500 back if that wins. I get $2 back if this wins, and I can just attack all the props in the game and not really just be all in, just take it more of an investment. Because I do think it's like I was thinking, I think Baltimore's going to win. I think San Francisco's going to win, and I'm leaning Baltimore, so why not just take this bet right now, Baltimore to beat San Francisco plus 350, and then stash that in our back pocket and have something to at least play with going into the Super Bowl if that's the exact matchup.
I really thought the Lions were going to blow out the Rams. And in the first half, I was like, all right, I got one right here on this one. And then the Lions, what happened, Jacob? They stopped playing.
The Lions offense is more of a complete unit right now because they have a really strong run game. And I know Tampa's run defense is good too, but all they need is David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs to do a little, and that'll open things up for Jared Goff.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Last year, the Purdue Boilermakers upset by the 16 seed Fairleigh Dickinson. Is history going to repeat itself?
Purdue is capable of winning 6 games in the NCAA tournament, but the fact is, until Purdue proves that it's capable of not just advancing, but advancing far in the bracket in March, this is going to be the storyline. And I've said that to you throughout the offseason.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
I can see why people would bet Boston at minus about 45, but I think the two of them are so exciting and so talented and so awesome. I went with and made the bet of the over 6.5.
There are issues with football characters. Always doing the right thing, being in the right spot, being highly coachable. Why do they continue to fail in the big moments? It's football character, Pharrell. It's not a talent issue. That has nothing to do with it.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
They were best friends. Like Siakam's best friend on the team was Chris Boucher. Chris Boucher's best friend on the team was Pascal Siakam. They're not American, right? So there's different cliques in the NBA. And they were very, very tight. So Chris Boucher, I got rattled seeing Chris Boucher and thinking about the memories, but Raptors responded.
SportsRage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
One that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Phoenix Suns trying to come back in this basketball game. They're trailing by 4 right now, 92-88, with 9 minutes left in the game, 8:54 to be exact. Meanwhile, we are on Sacramento, which is good. And Sacramento are winning 52-36. I could use a stress game, basketball game in the NBA here. But Sacramento, they don't know about no stress game. So even though they're up right now, they can blow this lead. We'll keep our eye on that. All right, Joe, before we get you out of here, NHL hockey, we keep getting these goals scored when we're in these breaks. So 3-2 for the Coyotes going into the third period over the Penguins. Total's up to 7.5 right now. What do you think about the third period of play, how this plays out? Coyotes are up 3-2. They're minus 270 right now. Meanwhile, the Penguins are plus 210, only down a goal. 7.5 is the total.
Yeah, I'd be looking at the Penguins on the puck line. I do think they can do enough to keep this one within one goal. I'm not seeing the line on my book. It's locked up for me. And then with the Vancouver Canucks up 2-0 over the Chicago Blackhawks, I think this could be a game where they win at 4-0 in this one. So I'd lay the 3.5 right now. You're getting that at plus 106. I just struggle to see the Blackhawks scoring on Demko tonight. So I think it's Vancouver.
That's crazy
all night
that
long.
it's 3.5.
It is 3.5 plus money, though. They can do it.
You know what?
Totally.
The Blackhawks just came like it was a miracle the puck didn't go in right there. The puck rolled along the red line, and then Demko made a crazy save after. So the Blackhawks nearly did just score right there, but they didn't. So it's 2-0, 18 minutes left in the second period of play. All right, great stuff, Joe. So you don't think Harbaugh is going to be the coach of the Chargers? I'll tell you what. I saw a Michigan podcast tonight of guys that are pretty popular in Michigan circles and stuff. And there's a frustration basically now with Harbaugh even. If you're going to go, bro, just go. And I think even Charger fans, people in the NFL, make up your mind. But I think the Falcons' job is a better job than the Chargers' job.
Yes.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.